Saturday evening, and yeah, a lot of things to discuss as I was contacted throughout today and yesterday by more than one person who had a long and I think very important discussion with me. Just give me one moment. I just want to get our Wi-Fi in place. Okay, excellent. In a previous video of mine about a week ago, I made it very clear that I do not intend to run at any stage for political office. Now, I've never seen myself as a politician. I'm 45 years old. If I intended to make a run for some political office, I would have done it by now. I've always seen myself as an activist, firstly and foremostly. Secondly, as a man of the people, not the general or the president or whatever title people want to sometimes come to know you for. I don't even use the title advocate. You will find amongst my clients and some of my friends that if I'm referred to as advocate Skalk van der Merwe, I chastise them. I don't like it. For a very simple reason that if a person is known only by his title, by his position, his job, it takes away from the person. I'm Skalk van der Merwe. I'm not Skalk van der Merwe, the general, or the president, or the leader of a party, or whatever position you may conjure up. For a long time, I served on the executive council of the FJF Chamber of Commerce in the Northern Free State, and later on I was actually elected then also as president of that body. Sometime later I was elected amongst the business people of the Free State to be the chairperson slash leader slash do-it-all of the old HI Afrikaanse Handelsinstituut. That was before it was transformed, if you want to call it that, into what is called today the Small Business Institute, the SPI, an organization that I vehemently opposed. I'm an old guard. I like to keep things as it is. But if you have an organization like the HI that is more than 70 years old, you tend to do a lot to keep it as it is. So I had the privilege of being in elected positions previously. Later on, during my tenure there, I served on the national executive of the AHI. Later on, I also served on the President's Council of the South African Chamber of Commerce and Industry. It was basically a council made up of the chamber presidents. We were also affiliated to SACI, who was to, number one, advise SACI, the SACI board of directors, and then of course also the ministers in a certain capacity. So running for office and being in office is not something new to me. I also know the responsibilities. I know the extra burden you carry on that. I know the immense amount of time and effort it takes for a person to be in an elected office. You become the possession of those that elected you into that position. You have a responsibility to them more than to yourself. So when I left those organizations and I embroiled myself more in activism, I never thought I would see politics or elected positions again. Unfortunately, I was drafted sometime later into National Conservative Party, first elected into the position of chairperson, later on as leader. At some point I resigned as leader, then they wanted me back as leader. So yes, the small little political parties, National Conservative Party, still in existence today. I'm still the leader of that party. But running for political office, just before the municipal elections, people wanted me to run in two different places. They wanted me to run here in Pretoria in one of the wards, and then of course down in Henneman, my hometown, in that ward. The one here up in Pretoria, I told them I'm not well known enough here. The chances of me getting voted in is very small. But beyond that, I do not see myself as a councillor. I know what a councillor does, and I know the amount of nonsense councillors need to absorb, if you want to call it that way. I mean, a person's sewerage stands still, and then the council is called up at the middle of the night to come and fix it, that type of a thing. I'm not up for it. It's not my cup of tea. Down in Henneman, although I don't want to admit it, but the DA has always stood us very good in that area, and especially the person, the councillor in that area, being part of the DA, she's been elected into that position for many years. She knows the politics, the inside politics of the municipality inside out. She's a start marker. So I indicated to my people, I'm not going to challenge her. She's doing a very good job, and I don't intend sitting in a small Free State town as councillor and taking responsibility for what's going on there. My vision is much bigger. My vision is much broader. I want to bring self-determination to South Africa. I want to implement Section 235 of the Constitution. It's much broader than being a councillor in a city council or on that level. Okay. I made it clear also more than once that I'm not willing to be elected into, for instance, a position of Member of Parliament, for the very simple reason, if you know how parliamentary work works, you realize that a single person, or maybe 2 of us, or 3 of us, or even 10 of us down there in the Cape in Parliament, is not going to deliver what needs to be delivered. You can't expect one person to change a whole political regime as it is embedded in South Africa to this day. Unfortunately, the parliamentary parties, and I'm speaking here specifically of the Freedom Front Plus, have failed us for 25, nearly 30 years in their mandate to establish self-determination for the Afrikaner people. The IFP, the other self-determination party, unfortunately had their own trouble. They split up at some point in time. They're also very small in number at this stage in Parliament. However, since my video where I broke the news, and I guess I shocked a few people. I think it was a week or two ago, where I very clearly said I'm not interested in running for political office. I've been approached by more than one person of note to say to me, Skalk, you must really consider and reconsider what you said there. There's only so many people in South Africa today that can make a difference. And I'm not being egotistical when I say this. I'm taking these as words that were said to me. But Skalk, you are one of them. And therefore there's a duty on you. You see, they're playing me. They're using my own terminology to convince me. Yes, there is a duty on me. There is a responsibility that comes with being in the position that I find myself in today. I was one of the first, if not the first, to oppose the issue of forced vaccination. Overall, I was one of the first to stand up against the lockdown. I was very vocal about this. I was very vocal about the whole issue of forced vaccination in workplaces. I assisted thousands of employees, literally thousands of employees, to retain their work, their jobs. I fought the system from the inside, I think very successfully. We haven't had that final nail in the coffin that everybody was hoping for from business side. We haven't had the legislation that was promised 3 times by the presidency to the business community. And not the whole business community. Please don't think that the majority of business people even support the issue of mandatory vaccination. I played my part in it. I will not take everything for myself, of course. There are a lot of role players, very strong leaders fighting this, but I did my job. I did my part. And today I can see the fruits of the labor that I put into it. I can see the amount of people that are following me. I don't like the word follower. It somehow detracts from the person who follows. I see you as my brothers. I see you as my sisters, as those standing next to me, not behind me, shoulder to shoulder. We are fighting this thing together. But as I have been spoken to now more than once the last couple of days, people indicated to me, Skalk, we need you to go that step further. We need you in a position of political significance. And that is why I'm speaking to you tonight. I didn't think that I would ever speak to you in this fashion or on this subject. I never intended. But it's here now. People are saying to me, Skalk, we will support you. We will support you financially. We will support you in all other ways needed for a so-called politician to be successful. I have various journalists who speak on a daily basis to me, saying to me, Skalk, you have a very soft spot in our hearts. You may be a ass to other people, but you have a soft spot in our hearts. We will write positively about you. We will give you your time of day. And yes, I have quite an amount of ordinary people, you, my friends, my fellows, sitting in my inboxes, saying to me, Skalk, we need you to do this. Now the next election is about a year and a half, 2 years off, if it is going to happen. We will have to still see all the political dynamics going on now. But yes, I don't want this as finalized. I'm coming to you tonight as my friends, as my followers, although I do not like the word, of people that has been with me, people that's been on my Facebook, my social media page for many years. I'm also going to put this video onto my Telegram, because my Telegram people are fiercely loyal. So I want to hear what they say about this. If you ask me to do it, and all things work in that direction, you must sometimes realize that nature, that God, that the higher power, that providence, sometimes put things in your way to stop you from doing what you intend to do with good reason. He's saving you for something else. But if everything then leads me into that route, then I guess so be it. Then it is what it is. So over days, I want you to comment on this post here and on Telegram. I'm not going to put it out on my other pages. In my inbox, if you do not want to do it publicly, if you think that you would support me in political office. Now this would be either then in Provincial Council, Free State or Gauteng, or then Parliament. Now, I don't like the Cape. It's windy and the winters are cold and wet. Right. I'd like to go on a holiday there, but after 2 or 3 weeks the Cape is not very nice for me to live. I'm saying this light-hearted. Cape Townians, I love you guys. I love Cape Town also. It's a beautiful city. I love the Western Cape. It's the closest thing to, I would think, civilization that we have south of the equator. And I'm not taking anything away from other parts of South Africa that has made, I think, even despite the ANC's misgovernment, tremendous strides the last decade or so. Certain parts of Johannesburg, certain parts of the eastern parts of Johannesburg, Sandton, Rosebank, the eastern part of Pretoria, certain parts of Pretoria itself beyond the east. So I cannot take away from areas and say the Cape is now better than everybody else. So see it in that way. I will also be sacrificing a lot. If I move to the Cape and the situation with my children, and I'm very open about this to you now because it weighs heavily on me. The situation with my children is the same, that the residents of the children are still with their mother. It would mean that I would then practically never see my children again on a regular basis. It weighs very heavily on me. You must understand that. My children, unfortunately, the eldest one is very close to finishing her school, and the other ones are at the point of going to high school. So we were speaking of maybe 5 years, 6 years, and then that problem obviously will not exist any longer. On my side, I have a tremendous woman. Leonie is more than I could ever even have dreamt of. And obviously she must also be taken into account. Her wishes and her needs must also be taken into account. Her whole family is on this side in Pretoria. So I will have to definitely also have a long, hard think and talk to her relating to this. But yes, if you think it's a good idea that Skalk van Merwe then end up in Parliament on your behalf, give me a thumbs up. If you think it's not going to work, then also tell me that. I've not decided anything, but the call is there. The call of duty is there. And if the call of duty is for me to do that for my people, then we need to look at it. We need to do it. If the call of my people is we go to war tomorrow, that you must lead us, and I'm saying this now also with a smile, so please don't come and arrest me for usurping the power of state. I have no such intentions. But then that's my duty. We need to listen to what our people say to us. All the leaders of the Afrikaner people, the Boer people, and the much broader South African people, because I also have a lot of colored support. I have a lot of, and I don't like the word colored. Dis breinmense. Dis mense van die eerste mense, die eerste volk van Suid-Afrika. I have tremendous support amongst the Indian community. I have some tremendous support amongst the black people in South Africa, the black tribes in South Africa. So it's not only an Afrikaner thing, it's not only a Section 30, 235, we now want a Volksstaat thing. I spoke to a very good friend of mine, lady friend of mine, the other day. She said to me, Skalk, there's a problem with the name of your party. It says National, which is already attached to a past that everybody wants to forget. And then Conservative. And people think Conservative is Bacon Cook Sisters. Now, there's nothing wrong with Bacon Cook Sisters, but we also need to be clever enough to understand that South Africa is diverse, it's plural, and we need to look after a whole host of issues when we look after politics. It's very easy for me to say I'm pro-Afrikaner and I only stand for the interest of the Afrikaners in South Africa. Ek is die groot boere-generaal, ek is die man in bruin. But then what about the other 60 million people? What do we do with them? We can't wish them away. We can't wave a magic wand and they will disappear. They are here. They are part and parcel of our everyday life. We live amongst one another. Different colors, different races, different classes, different backgrounds. Inside a white group, I mean, never mind the Boers, and the English, there's Jews, there's Portuguese, and there's Greeks, there's Italians, there's Russians. Everything that you can imagine. We are so plural and so colorful. Not even in the type of rainbow, because if you put the colors of rainbow together, it's white again. But you will have to help me make the decision, and you will also help me to lead me in the right direction. Are the Afrikaners going to have to go it alone, or are we going to have to go it in confederal way and structure with the other peoples of this country? That's the key question here. The ANC is a failed party. I'm on record previously, and you can go and look for that video of mine on my YouTube channel, in saying that the ANC is nothing more than an organized criminal organization. Obviously, they cannot lead us any longer. The ideology that they embrace, communism, has been discredited and has failed, and in every single part of the world that it was ever attempted. It's also a horrible system from the inside out. It dehumanizes, and in the end, it becomes genocidal on its own. We know this from history. The ANC must go. What comes after the ANC? The DA, which calls themselves Social Democrat. They are also not an option. Their policies, if you go and read their policies, is even more further to the left than the ANC. Believe you me. Go and read it for yourself. Go and find out for yourself what the actual purpose of the DA is in South Africa. Who the leaders are and from where they stem. The DA isn't the answer for South Africa. The EFF, guys, are you serious? Tuindwergies in hulle rooi kleedjies? That can never be an option. So therefore we need to see and to find a solution that's going to be lasting, and that's going to bring the best peace offer, the best option to everybody. We're going to have to compromise. I was a CCMA commissioner for many years. I do a lot of mediation work still. A good settlement is known by something. It's known by both parties being dissatisfied afterwards. Now, what do I mean by that? In the end, we will have to go and sit and make a plan that's going to make us all dissatisfied. Because we will all have to sacrifice something. But in the end, we will achieve peace, and we will achieve the ability to live together in this country. That's not working now. I can see the fringes tearing apart. And as the economy spirals downwards, it's going to get worse. And it's going to get to a point where we will not be able to stop the tearing up of society. And that is what scares me. Because there's 3 little children that I need to look after. There's a people of 2.8 million, the Boere, the Boers, that I see myself duty-bound as to protect in this country. And a country known as the Republic of South Africa, to which I swore not once, maybe 1,000 times, allegiance. Ons sal lewe, ons sal sterwe, ons vir jou Suid-Afrika. So you will have to guide me. You will have to give me the thumbs up or the thumbs down. And if you give me the thumbs up, you will have to guide me the way that I need to walk. I leave this on your hearts tonight. It's Saturday evening. I know it's weekend. People don't want to think about heavy things and intricate things like this. But time is running out. And time is going to at some point catch us. Daardie uurglas is besig om leeg te loop. Daar's net 'n paar sandjies oor. So if we don't do something now, it will be forever too late. And that is the fear that I have. And we need to stop that. I leave you with this. I thank you for the time that I could speak to you on the subject. And yes, as always, I will be on my post tomorrow. Good evening to you.